One of the key challenges I believe that developing countries in general, but African countries in particular, and also in their relationship with China, need to do is to really develop their own strategy and planning processes in terms of foreign policy. China has been able to think, this is what we would like to work with Africa on. And it's also very important for the African nations to say, well, what are our three priorities? What do we want from this relationship? The first one would be economic recovery, and specifically a green economic recovery. Now, many African countries, we estimated that in 2020, a number of African governments, majority of them, provided support to their citizens for dealing with COVID-19. Their support measures were designed to reach 175 million people. That's significant. Not necessarily how to make those measures support the economies in the longer term as well and help citizens continue to transform and lift themselves out of poverty. That is a real challenge. So how can African governments work with China to do those types of activities, extend those sorts of programs? That will be very crucial, and including through things like infrastructure building and making sure that Africans, for example, get employed on existing infrastructure building projects. That will really help for economic recovery. The second area is finance. And no, I'm not saying it's debt. In fact, the key challenge here is that African economies still, even despite COVID-19, still do not have enough access to finance to support their long-term structural development needs. And so the question for the discussion with China is, how can China still continue to support African economies as it has been doing with extra finance for things like new infrastructure, new industrial parks, loans to build all of these, and so that they can build for a future structural transformation of their economies? How to make sure that China can continue to do that? Now, that's a difficult question. China is going through, of course, also had its own challenges in terms of economic contraction because of COVID-19, but China is now expected to grow much faster than the rest of the world. So if there's one partner that can help on this and remain consistent, it's got to be China. Last but not least, this question of and I know China has set it out as vaccines. The way I would suggest we frame it is about people movement. How do we ensure for African economies, how do African economies ensure more people movement in 2021? Why is that important? If they do not have vaccines for their citizens and at least a minimum level of vaccines to be able to help key workers, for instance, in these different industries. How will Africans themselves be able to travel not just to Africa, but also to their existing market? Again, it's all about economic recovery fundamentally and trying to move forward as quickly as possible. While the health challenge in Africa has not been as strong, the vaccines will again determine how quickly Africa can recover.